Yuyuan area right now, but it's really rainy. I am ready for dinner.
Right next to People's Square, Shanghai Museum was originally founded in 1952. It boasts a vast collection of ancient Chinese art, which was halted during the Cultural Revolution in 1966. Then rebuilt in 1996, what you see today is still one of China's most renowned modern museums, showcasing pieces from the Bronze Age on the first floor that mostly derived from the Xia, Shang, and Zhou dynasties. Then, up on the second floor, you can see large collections of ceramics and porcelain from the imperial times. Back in the day, ceramics and porcelain workshops were typically reserved for the emperor, who would export numerous of them internationally as diplomatic gifts.
So this section's really cool because it's all the stuff from Ming, Yuan, and I think Qing dynasty. And it says that pottery belongs to all mankind, but porcelain belongs to China, is China's invention. So this entire second floor of the museum is dedicated to porcelain.
On to the third floor is my favorite, the calligraphy section. Just scrolls and scrolls of beautiful Chinese characters. I was definitely geeking out.
This is probably my favorite part of the museum because I love Chinese calligraphy and characters, and it's also the only part in China where I can really understand everything that's written because I read traditional characters, and in China right now they're being simplified. It gets a little bit hard to understand when I'm walking on the streets, and museums like this and calligraphy section, it's where I can understand the beauty and the complexity of Chinese characters and how poetic it is actually. Calligraphy is just so gorgeous and magnificent, and I think it's an art form that needs to stay around and be sustained for a long time to come.
Although on this rainy day, no one is people watching at these outdoor cafes in Xintiandi, but on any other day, this area is where to go for a modern meal. Xintiandi in Chinese means new heaven and earth. It is an upscale area that the government has redeveloped from traditional stone warehouse gate architecture. This is where you should go for nightlife, a nice meal, or splurge on name brand shopping.
Okay, now we're at Tianzifang in Shanghai, which is famous for vintage stores, arts and crafts, and back in the day they started this area with a lot of artists making their own pieces and selling at different boutiques. Now it's getting a little bit more commercialized and industrialized with a lot of, you know, tourist souvenirs and things you can bring home for your friends and family.
Tianzifang is one of the most popular places to shop in Shanghai. The labyrinth of vintage alleys off of Taikang Road was built in the 1930s. In 2006, the Chinese government wanted to redevelop this local area, but many artists such as Chen Yifei had studios here, so they asked the government to preserve the traditional Shikumen style of architecture, which is the stone warehouse gate that travelers can still see today as they browse and shop till you drop in this district. Today's Tianzifang has more than 200 cafes, shops, art galleries, and design studios.
People always come in Shanghai because of the palace and the garden called Yuyuan, and there's a lot of really famous restaurants like the soup dumplings and little boutiques and markets where you can buy souvenirs and local eats. But it's really rainy today, so we're gonna check it out really quickly and then head to dinner.
If it's your first time in Shanghai, you wouldn't want to miss out on Yuyuan. It's an area encompassing the gorgeous Chinese garden situated next to the city god temple. The Yu Garden was first built in 1559 during the Ming Dynasty. Surrounding this area today are tons of famous restaurants, endless lines of shops. Although this area is filled with tourists, as someone who's been to the city quite a few times before, I still find myself here every time I'm in Shanghai. Even in the rain and at night, it's still quite a sight.
It's raining really hard right now, but we're in Waitan, which has the gorgeous night view of Pearl of the Orient. Basically, you come here, across the street, there's a bunch of really hot happening nightclubs, and there's also financial centers here. If you want the best view of Shanghai, this is where you gotta be. It kind of looks like London, it kind of looks like New York, but it's really modern Shanghai.
Waitan, or the Bund, refers to the waterfront area along the west bank of the Huangpu River. From here, you can capture the best view of Pudong skyscrapers, including the Oriental Pearl Tower. On a nicer day, I highly recommend grabbing a cup of coffee in a restaurant in Waitan and just take in the breathtaking view.
This bar is really cool, called Camden Exchange. I'm having tea right now though, because it's 4 p.m.